in the Middle Podcast. I am your host, RIFLEX, a platform for entrepreneurs, innovators, creators of African descent. When you hear stories, ideas, and experiences on how we can break the mold, how we can break barriers, we've been doing this for close to 5 years now. If you are listening and watching us for the first time, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, hit the bell notification so you get updates every time we drop something new. If you're riding around or you're doing dishes, listening to your crib, definitely subscribe, do a review so the algorithm can drive us up so more people can hear us. We appreciate you checking us out this week. We have an incredibly special guest joining us via Zoom today. He's an actor, film director, known for his 2001 short film Lineage, Random Acts of Flyness, 2018 film, and Diabolical, 2018 joint as well. We have Francis Mancho joining us in line. How you feeling, bro? You good?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm good. I'm glad to be here, Flex.
Nah, man, really appreciate you. I want to, start from the beginning. The name Francis, it's a common name, but Mancho, yeah, it sounds common. You from like the northwest region of Cameroon? That sounds like northwest region of Cameroon. Is that right?
But Bamenda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that where your folks from?
Yeah, my grandpa's from Bamenda. My grandma is what village? What's the village? Zangtabi. Yeah, Zangtabi.
How much connection do you have, with Cameroon and back home? Like, how much you spent any time there? Do you remember knowing your grandparents?
Yeah, so my grandparents are still with me. You know what I'm saying? Lord willing, they're still healthy.
That's good.
They're over here now, so they pretty much come to the States every year for a few months. And I actually went to Cameroon. My first time was in 2013. Or no, it was 2012, and then I went back 2014. And it was eye-opening because I went there when I was in college. It's not like I didn't grow up there. I didn't go as a kid. So just to see that and the amount of love I got when I went back there, and the difference in lifestyle of what they value was eye-opening. But then obviously, as you know, the state we're in Cameroon right now, I can't really visit it.
Right. Yeah.
It's not safe.
Yeah. So you actually grew up here in Silver Spring area?
Yeah. So I lived in Silver Spring to elementary, and then we moved to Mount Olive, New Jersey, and I lived there until I went to college.
Yeah. How was like childhood for you? Like, how was life for you growing up?
So when I was in Silver Spring, obviously you know how it is down there in the DMV.
Yeah.
I was with so much of my family. All my cousins lived down the street. A lot of parties, a lot of events over there. So even though I ended up moving to Jersey, Maryland's like that's in my blood. You know what I'm saying? DMV is what I love. And then moving over to Jersey, we moved to better neighborhood over there. We got a house, so that it was like a difference. And when I first moved to that community, it was very white. And then as I started to grow older, more black kids started moving in, so we had like a black community, middle school and high school. But yeah, I still got my day ones from Maryland. I got a lot of people down there and day ones from New Jersey. I got all my people down there in Maryland still. So I come down there a lot, but yeah, growing up for me was a lot of athletics. I was a sports guy.
So you like athletics? Would you consider yourself to have been a good student like in school growing up?
I wasn't the best student, if I'm being frank with you, because I used to get away with a lot. Me being an athlete, because I played ball. I played three years varsity. Basketball. I ran track. I actually ran track in Division I track at LaSalle University.
Oh wow!
So I was able to get away with a little bit more. So I wasn't the best student, but as I got older, I would like to say I became a better student.
So and then you went to college and did finance. How did you go from finance to acting?
Just being a Cameroonian child. Kind of like, because I didn't really know my way because I was all caught up in athletics. And as I mentioned earlier, I wasn't that indulged with the schoolwork. So going there, I was like, I'm really good with numbers. I kind of like it. I like business. So I was like, okay, it just made sense to do finance. But then while I was in school, I would like to say like my sophomore year, I was like, man, like this is cool, but there's something in me, like a creative in me, that
Mm-hmm.
I just want to explore that and what that was like.
Mm-hmm.
And my school didn't have an acting program,
Mm-hmm.
so one day I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go sit in on the acting class, and I went there. It was something different. Um, I liked it. It was very uncomfortable, but for me, it was like, I want to just like see what I can do there, because I something in me tells me I could be good at this.
Mm-hmm.
And then through continuing to join classes and building on from there, um, it became my passion.
And this was not like a school program. This was just a class that you found.
Yeah, this was a class I found. So I was in school, LaSalle University. It was just in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
I rode the train all the way from North Philly, all the way down to South Philly to audit this class. I sat
Dang.
in some rent, and I walked, like it was like a 25-minute walk from the train. So I walked all the way there, sat in class, and it was dope. So then the
Mm-hmm.
teacher, she took a liking to me. I started going to class a little bit more. So I was balancing like the track, the school, and this outside acting program, as well as working a part-time job in college.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Was there like growing up like any, say I can remember the first time my pops wheeled in, like he had somebody like an electrician come in with a DVD, and the dude brought in the Matrix, and that was like the first time I watched like a movie like the Matrix, the first Matrix on DVD, and I was just so in awe. Like, do you remember any of that growing up, or what I'm saying, like it was just like one day you just like, yo, I think this is a little bit of creative for me, and I want to explore that.
yeah, so I would say the two people for me that was like, yo, that's what I should be doing, was Omar Epps
Mm,
and Wesley Snipes. Those are the two, you know what I'm saying? Like dark skinned
mm-hmm,
brothers. I'm like,
mm-hmm.
yo, okay, people make jokes. They say I be looking like Snipes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was watching them, watching Snipes in like New Jack City. I was watching Omar, and of course, loving basketball,
Mm-hmm.
the juices of the world, higher learning. And I was like, yeah, I wanna be like Epps. And
Mm-hmm.
then continue to start. That's how I started studying. Actually, I watched
Yeah.
his whole discography.
Hmm. So like, did you like say, all right, I'm leaving finance and I'm gonna go and pursue this thing full time, or were you, knowing that you come from an African background, like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this finance degree so my parents don't think I'm about to like waste their money or waste my time. What was the
I
transition for you like?
so I got the degree. I got the degree, and I started working. Originally, when I graduated, I was working at Vanguard,
Oh wow,
with
okay.
like retirement accounts.
Mm-hmm.
I was working there for a year, you know what I mean? The pay was all right. But I'm like, yo, I'm like, I was miserable, you know? I
Mm-hmm.
was like, it wasn't what I was supposed to do. I'm waking up at like 5:30, 6 a.m. every day to drive to work, to work for a company that really doesn't give a fuck about me, excuse my
No,
language.
yeah, you good.
Um, yeah, and I was just like miserable, because I'm seeing like young brothers like myself on TV doing what I wish I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was like, man, I gotta figure something out. So I worked a job for a year, and then I saved up enough money to move to New York. And when I got to New York, funny enough, I worked a few different jobs when I first got here, and one including I ended up getting another corporate job as an account manager.
Mm-hmm.
And like a month or like a month and a half into the job, it was a smaller company. There was an incident where there was like it was a stock transfer company. They lost the stock certificate, and my supervisor there was saying that she obviously had been there for years. So when they lost it, which I never received, they kind of put that on me, and then I got fired like a month into it. So for me, that was like a sign from God. I was like, he's telling me
Yeah.
like, you gotta take that step. You gotta stop
Mm-hmm.
tiptoeing and take that step.
Mm-hmm.
So from that point forward, I joined the acting conservatory in New
Yeah.
York.
So you
And
actually trained in Lee Strasberg and Theater
Lee
Film
Stratford.
Institute, yeah, and the
Yeah,
William
yeah.
Esper Studios. Like, walk us through that. What kind of institution it was, you timed there, and like, just the experience.
That was like heaven for me. They
Mm,
like I can't. That's, what I'm saying. I'm just coming to New York. I'm like within a year being here.
mhm,
Finally got to the atmosphere, the environment that I wanted to be in, and It was like twofold, because one, I literally spent all the money I had saved up to get my apartment and then to pay the tuition to go to the school. So I was broke and I was just working the server. I got a job as a server, so I was barely making ends meet. But on the other hand, I was so happy because I was like, I felt free. So I was creative in there, and they taught me so much at being in the William Esper studios, from the way we relax our body to visualizing like different places and doing like animal technique. It was a lot. It was a lot, learning a lot of method acting in there. And it was kind of surprising because the other students in the program, a lot of them were like silver spoon babies from the industry, so they didn't really take the training serious. But for me, man, I was so happy to just get accepted in there and be a part of that and be learning from such a prestigious school. And I was so happy. And then the same thing with William Esper. Both of those programs were amazing.
Yeah. What's method acting? Like, I always hear, you know what I'm saying? Like, but what for people who don't know, what is method acting?
I don't know the technical dictionary definition, but method acting is just is pulling from one of the like main acting techniques in order to get to like state of being that you need to be in for a performance. So like the main techniques are Strasberg, Meisner, Stella Adler, Uda Hagen, and there's a few more off the top I can't remember, but I trained in Strasberg and Meisner, so those are the two I go by.
Yeah. What's the first, as an artist, as an actor, what's the first big gig that you got when you got out, got out of school, got out of training, and so just getting into the world? Like, what was the first gig that you got, or your first role that you remember getting?
The first one, like I say, like real professional role I got was I came out of Strasberg. The first thing I booked was a series called Music and Murder on Amazon Prime. And it was dope because I'm like, man, like I said, I was barely surviving then. I got this role and I was shooting down in Baltimore. So I'm like, that's like a semi-homecoming coming down there to Maryland to shoot. So it was really dope, being on set down there. All my cousins came through the day before, which was a bad idea because I was unprepared when I went on set the next day. That was the first one. That was the first one for me. That was 2017.
How did you get it? How did you get the role?
So for us actors, what happens is there's a platform called Actors Access. And from there, you're able to submit yourself for auditions. And if they take a liking to your profile or your headshot or whatever, they'll request you to do a self-tape. So I did the self-tape, and the self-tape is pretty much what you're seeing right now. I got the backdrop, I got the phone, and I have a reader, and I just got to perform right here, and we just keep it right there.
How many of those have you done? Like, like in the past, I don't know, 3 years? Because I've watched some of those. Yeah, I've watched some of those tapes, like even the Game of Thrones ones. I'm like, dang, like they go from this to the big screen. It's kind of fascinating. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've done hundreds, man. I've done hundreds. I do, on average, I probably do like 2 to 3 a week. Sometimes it gets a little crazier than that, but on average, it's like 2 to 3 a week.
Yeah. Where do actors, typically find management? Would you say it's a good idea to find management? You know what I'm saying? Like, kind of like an artist, a musical artist, they have management people, book their stuff. For an actor, is that something that typical actors do? And where do people find it?
Yeah, so if you want to reach a certain level, you got to have representation. You got to have either an agent or manager or both. The best place where I found both of mine was IMDb Pro. IMDb Pro, excuse me. So when you go on there, you're able to go to like a talent agency section, and you can go through and you can see literally every agent that's in the country ranked. And same thing with managers. And through there, you can just click through profiles, and when you go to the profile, it'll have like contact information. From there, you could just submit. Some of them have their contacts, some of them don't. But for the ones that do, you could just submit.
Yeah. I mean, like, one thing here on Stuck in the Middle podcast is like we, not only highlighting people like yourself, incredible brothers doing incredible things, but also like, the struggles and how they overcome it. What's the time, your journey, your career, you're like, I mean, you already talked about some, paying your way through college, and, working as a servant. And how did you overcome it? Is there a time in your career or even just in a role where you're like, this is challenging? How did you overcome it?
Yeah, it was, when I tell you, it was challenging because my first year in New York, I went through so much life experience, and I think the only thing that got me through it was my love for what I was finally doing what I wanted to do. Fair. In terms of training as an actor, but it was tough. You know what I mean, these couple of years, like being an artist in New York City is no joke. It will bite you back out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Just the love for it. We mentioned, Lineage, Random Acts of Flyness, Diabolical. What's your favorite role so far? Of course there are others. What's your favorite role so far?
I would probably say I'll probably go with Lineage. Yeah, I'll probably go with Lineage because it was such a powerful piece. And Lineage is actually available for anyone to watch on YouTube right now. I could get y'all the link in the link to check it out. But the reason why that was my favorite role is because it was so powerful in terms of like educating our people. It was a period piece where I played dual characters, one modern day, and I played one I was a runaway slave in the other one. So I think it's just a captivating story, and it was something of substance to hang on from. Yeah. As opposed to playing something stereotypical, because I don't really play those type of roles anymore.
Yeah, I started watching Lineage as I was preparing for our interview, and I was like, I got to pause it and like get my wife. It's a short piece. It's about 30 minutes, I think, and it's free on YouTube. So definitely gotta go check it out. I was like, because I was just watching it just to see if, how many questions I can get. It was like, nah, I want to watch it to enjoy it, because the first 5 minutes got me already. So definitely go check it out.
It.
I liked it. I haven't finished it, but I want to set the mood and, put it on the big screen and watch it and like really.
Of course, man.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned something, but I'm curious, like, what is a role or, a gig that you would absolutely not do?
No, I would not anything rapist. Any type of like street role that's stereotypical. Like, I don't have a problem playing the street character, but it gotta have some substance to it, because nobody's just running around killing people or selling drugs, you know what I'm saying, just because they were born that way. You gotta have backstory as to why they are that, to show the struggle and order to bring like the human element to them. Because if a character has no human element, I'm not playing the character. There's nothing for me to build there. So just like things like rapist is definitely one that comes to my mind. Or like a perpetrator just like attacking people for no reason, things like that. No.
I was watching a Michael B. Jordan interview. I believe he was actually Chadwick Boseman. Yeah, Chadwick Boseman. He was talking about how he turned down some roles because he found that the roles that he was getting pitched to were like, just stereotypical movies. It's like how people be like, Kevin Hart acts the same movies. Is that something that you consider when you accepting scripts or trying to pitch for for roles?
Yeah, definitely, because I think I have a lot of range, so I don't want to I don't want to stick to the same genre, the same type of role. I want to do different things. Like in Lineage, I start off as a street dude, then all of a sudden I'm a runaway slave. I played a number of different roles this year, and none of them are like exactly the same. Everything has a different niche to it, and number one, I want to do that because I have the range. But number two, I want to find out like how far I could expand from it. I want to keep growing in that regard and testing myself.
Yeah, no doubt. What do you think, the state of the industry is right now, the Hollywood industry for artists like yourself, black men like yourself?
I was just talking to AK about that. I actually think it's getting to a pretty good place, especially in particular like in these last 2 years. I would say we're starting to see more black cinema
Mm.
I think there was a lot of powerful Black films that came out this year. Like I
Yes.
just watched the Harder They Fall.
Mm-hmm.
That was a very dope film. We had Judas and the Black Messiah come out this year. We had so many, and I think we're starting to see a little bit more representation. I think that we still have a lot more to do, but I think Hollywood is just seeing that okay, Black films can be successful,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
yeah,
so they're starting to go
yeah.
in that direction.
Yeah, I just checked out Passing too. It was a pretty dope piece on Netflix. With
I think somebody told me about that. I didn't watch it yet.
yeah, yeah. It's an interesting joint. Very. It's adapted from a novel. It's a really dope joint. I think a lot of people, it's the ending is controversial. So I don't know. I don't know how a lot of
Yeah.
people. I'm curious to see how a lot of people feel about it. But a lot of films that are coming out now were shot back in the pandemic, and a lot of people feel like because of the constraints, the production didn't really go in depth. How were you, first of all, how were you able to cope during the pandemic, and the film industry being shut down almost last year with the pandemic? How did you survive? How did you cope in finding roles or just staying active?
So when the pandemic shut down and the country shut down, the industry from like a major studio perspective, everything was stopped from like March until around like October. They started bringing more back.
Mm.
So it was tough times because we didn't really have any work for those time periods. And for us, because we are instruments, it really messed up a lot of our rhythm. But for me, I actually had my best year during the pandemic this past year. And I think I could say that was due to I ended up losing my job during when quarantine first hit, which I don't think I shouldn't have been working that job in the first place, but that was taking up too much of my time and I wasn't focusing enough. So before I had rejoined the workforce, I was just 100% an actor, and I was booking, and I had a lot of films. I think I had 8 over this past year, so which was definitely my best year. But I mean, for everybody is different, because some people I know struggle during it. For me, I thrived during it. So I'm just grateful.
And 8 films this past year. I know you actually got you releasing your debut project that you co-wrote. I think you wrote and co-directed. What is it about? What can you tell us, man? You on Stuck in Middle Podcast. Let's get the exclusives.
Let's get the juices.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. So Pulse is my first written co-directed film. I also star in it. It's a film about 2 half brothers and going through dire situations, trying to find a way up out of it. And my character, he's the protagonist. He has a daughter who has cancer, and he just finally got the money in order to, without telling too much, to pay for his daughter's cancer, versus his brother, who was like you could say the antagonist of the film. He's stuck in his ways, and he gets caught in a bind where he's desperate for money, and we're seeing like how far he'll go in order to get what he needs to during the film. So what we're doing with it is a short film, but we're trying to pitch it in order to get it picked up as a feature film. That's the goal for it.
Man, so I was gonna ask, like, when can we see it? But when can we see that streaming? So
it's coming soon. It's coming soon. We're actually done with the editing. We're waiting on some film festivals to hear back whether we got in or not, and from there we'll set up the debut stream for that.
In the meantime, what's next for you as far as like film projects? We got Lineage right now streaming. You just did 8 joints this past year. What can the fans see, man? I'm trying to see some joints.
So right now I got this. I just finished a feature film called Roar. That they actually just sent me a rough cut of the trailer today. They're gonna start promo for that next week. I'm in the middle of. I actually had to we had to move the podcast back today because I was training for a new movie I'm doing. I think it's called Junie, and I'm playing a boxer. Playing a boxer / the love interest in that. So we start filming that at the end of the month. I have a few more coming out. I can't, like, at the top, I don't know when they're gonna come, but everything's gonna roll out, and I'm gonna continue to get more work. So
Yeah, not for sure. I want to ask you this: like, do you think one has to be in the mecca of film industry, that is New York or Los Angeles, to get television or film roles in the industry? Like, do you can you be in Silver Spring, or do you got to go to LA, New York?
Yes and no. So you got to be in like you, because technically like the trifecta is New York, Atlanta, LA. Those are like the hubs where they really have numerous active projects. But you can live in Chicago and book something like the Shy or Chicago PD, or you can live in Silver Spring and book something like, I don't even know if they're still shooting Scandal, but when they were shooting that, you could book something like that. But it severely heightens your chances if you live in one of those three cities as opposed to living in Maryland. That's the only if it was like I would be back in Maryland right now. I'll be honest with you. If y'all had an industry for it, but y'all don't. So yeah.
Nah, facts. Love to our brothers out, in London, but out, what are your thoughts on, because right now it's a Twitter conversation with a lot of UK, actors and actresses, getting
Sweeping
American,
up.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
they're
like
killing
Lamar and BMF. I want to get your thoughts on that.
To me, I think the conversation, if they're putting in the work, and these actors are sharp, you know what I mean? It's not like they're doing a bad job. Like, if they're doing a bad job, I would have an issue with it. But if these brothers are getting trained, they're talented, and they're obviously thriving in these roles, then I don't have a problem with it. But it just means we got to get better. That's what it comes down to. As long as the talent is working, I don't have an issue with it.
Yeah.
And there's no politics involved.
Nah, for sure. As a somebody who's African descent, love to Cameroon, what are your thoughts on the African movie industry? I'm sure you're familiar with Nollywood. We got Collywood, which is movies from Cameroon, popping up right now. There's a lot of African movies on Netflix, Amazon. You checking out any? What are your thoughts on the whole African movie industry?
So besides the ones I really got to sit through with, like if I'm with my aunt or something like that, and watch them, I don't really watch Nollywood too much. They can be entertaining, but for me, just like some of the acting and the productions, like it's not there quite there yet. So I'm not that big a fan of them.
Yeah. What goes through your mind? What goes through your mind when you auditioned? When you're in the audition room, you submitted your tape, you got the phone call, you got the script. It's audition is Saturday 2 p.m. What goes through your mind when you in there and the judges? I don't know if it's judges, the people sitting at the little desk as an actor.
Focusing on just building the character. That when I get an audition, I got to build the character, build his backstory, and really find like what his intentions are for the scene. Because once you do that, you don't have time to think about it. You're just in the moment. So when I'm in an audition, the biggest thing is, okay, I did my homework. I know what I'm doing here in the scene. Now I just have to listen. That's one thing a lot of actors, young actors, I should say, aren't familiar with. You can't predetermine what you're going to do in the scene. You got to go in the scene, hear them, and react to it. So that's my biggest thing, just knowing what I'm doing and listening to the reader.
Yeah, nah, I love that. You just did 8 joints this past year, and there's a couple others in the pipelines. What is a role that you haven't gotten a call yet, or haven't gotten presented to you that you like, I'm waiting for this, or that you would love to create? What's a role that you absolutely want to play?
I think I just got it right now. Is the love interest, because I play in a lot of I played a lot of serious characters that have depth to them, and I love that. But actually I had 2 of them this year. It was the love interest side, because I didn't really get to show that until this year. And you know what I'm saying, I think I'm a romantic guy. I have that in me as well, so I just really wanted to show that on camera. And yeah, that's it right now.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to them joints. To build on that, what is your dream crew? I'm talking producer, writer, and co-star. Like, build your dream crew, somebody to co-star with you, write the joint and produce and direct. So 4 people dream.
Okay. Right off the bat, we could probably go Tarantino. Mahershala Ali. That's actually my favorite actor right now. Writer wise, That's a tough one. Who's one of my favorite film writers? I don't know if I could give you a writer who I would prefer. Maybe what was it, Shaka King? I think Shaka wrote Judas. So we could probably roll with Shaka. Yeah. So I go with them. What was the fourth one?
So turn to co-star, somebody that co-star with you, co-actor, male or female.
Oh yeah, Mahershala.
Oh yeah. That's a solid cast right there. I think I want to see if I, just from what I've read and seen from you, I would want to see. I forget his name; it's escaping me right now. But he directed and wrote Black Panther. Brother, he's a brother.
Oh, Coogler.
Ryan Coogler. Yeah, Ryan Coogler.
I could swap Tarantino out with Coogler depending on what the genre is, but Coogler is a beast too.
Yeah. I would want to see a Coogler jump with you. How do you stay, like just keeping your name out there, keeping your face out there, in between roles, in between gigs? Because I've watched interviews with actors. It's like, even the dude who did Venom, he was like, I think that the interviewer asked him, they haven't seen him, for many. He was like, I couldn't find work. There just wasn't any work. How do you keep yourself out there?
Oh, you talking about Tom Hardy?
Yeah, Tom Hardy.
He said that?
It was something along the lines of just looking for work, something along those lines.
Okay.
How do you keep yourself? And actors, I've heard Idris Elba said that looking for work, because I've always just felt like they just got a boatload of scripts, and to hear an actor say I'm looking for work, it's like it kind of puts things into perspective. So how do you keep your name out there, in between roles, in between shoots?
To be honest, I don't do anything in specific. I just pretty much post my normal life. Might go take a trip, go on vacation, like I was in Portugal. So I put a little film together for that. Just might post going out, hanging out with my girl, something like that. It's nothing in particular. I think for me, a lot of my projects have just been rolling over, and promotion comes from all of them this year. So I haven't had to do anything like really reach to try and keep my face active or in the people's minds.
And of course, you got a management behind you as well, pushing it and everything.
Yeah. I have a manager and an agent. My manager, actually, I just signed with him this past month, and he got me working, man. He got me auditioning heavy, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, for sure. What is your advice, young actors, African brothers and sisters, or brothers and sisters listening to this right now, watching this right now? What is your advice on, just, getting the foot in the door, making it in the industry?
The first thing, you have to get better at your craft. You got to study. You got to put the work in. So I say, no matter what, you don't necessarily have to go to a conservatory, but you have to go to a reputable class and get trained, so that you know what you're doing. And once you get that and you feel comfortable with that, start getting in on student films, little short films, get yourself some footage. From there, you're able to get you get your headshots and you start submitting for representation. Because when it comes to auditioning for like network shows, that's what you'll call like anything on TV, or like major studios, that's like big budget movies. You gotta have representation in order to audition for those projects. So once you get yourself some type of reel, some type of footage, because once you have that, people could actually see your talent a little bit more. And even if you're just self-taping here at home and you have a monologue you want to do, you could use that and use it to submit to agents and managers.
All right, man, that's solid advice, man. Listen, we've had the pleasure of speaking with Francis Mancho. You can go check out Lineage right now, streaming. Got a bunch of dope joints coming in the pipelines. Random Acts of Flyness. I was going to ask you, what's that about? Random Acts of Flyness. Is that public?
Yeah, that's public. That was on HBO. It was
Yeah.
It's a little comedy series. I think it got canceled now. I think it only went one season, but they had a whole bunch of skits in there. And the skit I was in, it was a real brief second, but I pretty much was playing a basketball player, and and they had me dressed up in a hot dog, and it's like a Kardashian was coming to eat the hot dog. So that was a little skit I was in for that show.
And Diabolical, what's that about?
Diabolical, that's available too. That is on the Investigation Discovery channel, and I think they also have those episodes on Hulu. So I don't remember this. I think it was season 3, episode 4. I had to check my IMDb, but they it's a murder recreation show. So I played an accused murderer in that show, and they kind of unfolded the case.
Dope, man. Listen, this has been dope, bro. I really appreciate the conversation. A lot of gems, and I wish you a lot of success and everything you got going on, bro.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If you enjoyed what you heard, what you watched, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you get updates every time we drop something new. Incredible conversation with Francis Mancho. Where can people find you? Where can people get in contact with you and all that good stuff?
You can find me on Instagram at Francis, that is FRANCIS, Mancho, MANCHO. Hit me up on Instagram. My email is linked through there as well. And I'm gonna have a number of projects coming out this year, so just tap in.
Yes, sir.
And also tap in the Lineage that is on YouTube. If you just type in LINEAGE 4K and then McGee Productions, that is MCGHIE Productions, and you'll find it right on YouTube.
Yes, sir. I'm about to go watch that joint as soon as I get home later tonight. Appreciate you, bro.
Hey,
this
tap in, man. For sure,
yes,
tap in. I appreciate the support.
Yeah, man, for sure. Reflex, SitM Podcast. Shout out to the entire team for producing this. AK, I see you. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace. This episode of the podcast is sponsored by our online store, SitMPodcast.com/store. You get hoodies, t-shirts, crew necks, all kind of incredible stuff. That's the machine that drives this show, that drives this brand. We appreciate every single one of y'all rocking with us. And definitely, if you want to, get in touch with us, sponsor us, send us an email, SitMPodcast237@gmail.com. We appreciate it. We can work something out.